Welcome. This is Anthony Nayagan from Supreme Realization. And yesterday I was asked a question. And the question is, what is awareness? Well, what is spiritual awareness? Let's think about it, or let's discuss about it with an open mind. See, God created us in His image and likeness, and He also abides in us. Christianity believes in it, and so do all the other religions, especially the Eastern religions. They all believe in the spirit within, or the inabiding presence of God in our being. See, God creates us in His image and likeness, and then He also abides in us. See, spirituality is all about connecting with the inabiding presence of the divine. It's a deep relationship with the inabiding presence of the divine. What is awareness? Awareness is, well, all religions, especially Buddhism, Hinduism, talks extensively about it, but Christianity, there is more clarity in Christianity. See, Jesus says often, "My Father and I are one." Let me go to a specific statement of Jesus that is in John. This is chapter 5:19. "Very truly I tell you, the Son can do nothing on his own, but only what he sees the Father as doing. For whatever the Father does, the Son does likewise. The Father loves the Son and shows him all that he himself is doing. And he will show him greater works than these, so that you will be astonished." And he finishes that conversation with these words, "Very truly I tell you, anyone who hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life, and does not come under judgment, but has passed from death to life." Oh, these words have incredible mysteries to it. Let me take it a little further, and I'm going to take you into modern physics. Quantum mechanics. If we split an associated particles and we separate them by great distance, they have established, it is clearly established, that the particles have very similar mechanics, very similar dynamics. In other words, they operate the same way, even when they are separated by great distances. But mind you, brothers and sisters, see, particles in itself, they are static. They don't have intelligence. But the waves that encapsulates them have consciousness. In other words, they have, which I describe as an energy, a conscious energy. See, that's what the waves are. And these waves behave in an intelligent order. And those are the waves that make the particles move and get into the dynamics. Otherwise, particles themselves are static. So we are only looking at waves. You see, these waves are the elements that is associated with these particles, make these particles behave in a certain way. So in other words, both these particles, even though they are separated by great distances, They are consciously connected. Do you see that? And this is a very clearly established theory in quantum mechanics. That's what is going on here. It is not us as physical beings and God as an entity, and we being the, as His image and likeness, we are being split entities that are still connected, even though it is true. What makes this dynamics possible is how consciously connected we are. See, when Jesus is saying, me and my Father are connected, I see what He is doing and I do likewise. See, it is beyond intellectual interpretations. It's beyond intellectual interpretations. What is actually happening here is Jesus in that constant awareness of that connected energy, the connected consciousness with God, is not doing things that are intelligently expressed. See, it is not an intelligent reality, mind you, it is not an intelligent reality, but it is a consciously connected reality. In other words, the consciousness of God and the consciousness we as humans are connected. Even with the inabiding presence of God within us, which in itself is consciousness, we are connected through consciousness. Do you see that? Because God is really not an entity. Although we want to create Him as entity and we want to imagine Him as entity, He is not an entity. He is consciousness. So the consciousness of God and the consciousness of ourselves are connected. And you see, when particles are separated, they are not intellectually connected. They are not connecting by way of intelligence and logic. It is that energy, it's that conscious energy that is making them operate in a certain way that is consistent with each other. See, so when we are talking about awareness, we are talking about that conscious connectivity without mindful engagement. Without the mindful engagement, mind you that. See, particles are not operating in mindfulness. They are operating in conscious awareness. See, so Jesus is also talking about how consciously He is connected with the Father in heaven, and how consciously He is aware of what Father is doing, and He is repeating it as Himself. See, in this we need to understand something, we need to clearly understand something as Christians. See, Jesus is not saying this to claim Himself as an exception to us as human beings. Jesus was telling this when He was in His ministry on earth as a human being, how consciously He is connected. If we don't believe in anything, just believe on one thing. Jesus died to restore that in us so that we can also be consciously connected to God as He was. He was not claiming an exception here. That was not Jesus. See, so what Jesus is talking about is that particular conscious awareness, which connects us even to God. As split particles, we do the same thing as God is doing. We are capable, scientifically capable, of doing exactly what God is doing. See, and then He finishes the sentence saying that whoever believes in what He is saying will have eternal life. Brothers and sisters, our body is meant to perish. It has a beginning and it has an end. But what is imperishable in us is that consciousness, See, when that consciousness is fully realized, what Jesus is saying is we as conscious beings will have eternal life, not as material beings. As conscious beings, we will have eternal life. It's life forever. That's a life that did not have a beginning, that will not have an end, but in between it is possessing our material form. That's all there is to it. Everything else is an illusion. So, when we try to understand spiritual awareness, let's be clear about one thing. See, spiritual awareness is not a mindful condition. It happens when we transcend our minds and evolve as conscious beings. See? And that consciousness that I'm talking about, or the wisdom in Christianity, see, it is not structured or organized in a perceptive order that we can relate to. It's not. And this awareness comes into effect only when we observe what our consciousness is experiencing. What is our conscious reality? When we begin to observe that conscious reality, then that becomes the awareness. It's not a mindful reality. It's a conscious reality that transcends mindfulness. So when we become fully engaged in that reality, now we have realized awareness. It's not really that difficult. It's not. See, it takes an effort because we are mindful creatures. We have evolved as mindful creatures. So it takes a little unlearning and it takes a little effort to experience that reality, and we have to do that step by step. See, we all had that capacity, we still have it. And we were all born with that power of observation. See, I say this all the time and I'm going to say it again. We learned our first language by the power of observation. Nobody taught us the language. After that, we learned grammar, we learned alphabets, we learned sentence structures, we learned all sorts of things about the language we already know. And now that we know intellectually how to learn another language, imagine how long it takes for us to learn another language. See, that is how insignificant human intelligence and our mindfulness are in comparison to conscious awareness. See, what happened to us when we started learning mindfulness? Our capacity to be consciously aware, it just fell into the pitfall, that's all. All we need to do is we have to rekindle it. It's already within us. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still waiting for us. See, enlightenment is within us. It's not going to come from somewhere else. Wisdom is within us. It is not going to come from somewhere else. What we are seeking is within us. The question is, how do we seek it? Well, we will talk more about it as we progress. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. Blessings. Thanks a lot.